Hello and welcome to Teletraan Tapes, a monthly look at the latest issue of Skybound's Transformers series, as well as other happenings in the Energon universe. I'm your host, Carl from Carl's Collection, and along with me this month are my friends Delta Trion, Swizz Prime, Moonbase 3. Great to have all four of us together again for this episode, so I'm very much looking forward to diving into Transformers issue 29 with you fellas. First off, though, guys, talk to me. How are we feeling this month?
Ooh, yeah.
Dot, dot, dot.
Yeah.
It's like the ongoing thing. It's like yeah, some more. I'm not dotting my way through these issues, right? So
Yeah, we're here.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think we're all doing good, but how we're feeling about the issue is ... Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're getting into that territory of I think before we all kind of had similar thoughts on the issues. We different reactions to certain elements within each issue. But I have every new issue we read, I keep thinking like, I don't know how this is going to be received. I don't know how the guys are where they're gonna come with it. So I absolutely. This is definitely be my favorite part of reading a new issue of Transformers is getting to sit down with you guys and talk about just figure out my true thoughts about the issue, because every time I come out of this conversation, I have a renewed appreciation or things that I missed that may have been pointed out, like, that is problematic. But every time I come out of this with just a better understanding and a better grasp on the issue. So yeah, let's just jump into it. So the creatives involved on issue 29 are written by Robert Kirkman. Art is Dan Mora. Colors are Sarah Stern this month. Now, I think we saw Sarah Stern last in like issues 15, 16, somewhere in there. Did she I think she did 2 issues. So I think it's like her third on Transformers. Maybe more. Might be remembering that incorrectly. But yeah, good to have her back. And then letters, Rus Wooton. So now get ready. Now the synopsis last month had us all on the edge of our seats with the get ready for awesome. This one, I got to tell you, is like even better. The synopsis reads: Autobots versus Decepticons, and only spoiler can turn the tide. ... And that's all we get. So yeah, let's check it out. Now, before we dive into the story specifics, which we'll go over everything that happens in the issue, this is your official spoiler warning. So if you haven't read the issue yet, pause, go take 5 minutes of your time, come back.
4 minutes.
Probably 4. And after you read the issue, and then go ahead and resume this episode. So yeah, I mean, the issue really it moved. I want to get some like initial thoughts before we dive into the story. So just guys, give me some quick impressions of the issue, and we're going to start with Delta, since you missed last month. We missed you for sure. So maybe get us caught up on how you felt about a little bit about last issue, and then this issue as well, if you don't mind.
I don't I don't remember the last issue other than the Miles Mayhem stuff. I think he should have taken up the entire comic. The fact that he only had a few
according
pages.
to Swizz, he did take up the entire comic. So
He
True,
did.
yeah.
He did.
I'll say that's the only real big thing that I have to say about last issue was, and Swizz said this, I'm echoing him, is that I'm still upset that RC gets 1 page to show us her cool Magnus trials, and Miles Mayhem gets 4 pages. That's what I have to say about that issue.
Yeah,
29,
fair enough.
you're right, is super fast. And I think just like with all of these issues that we've had with Kirkman, I'm going to sound like a broken record. I'm going to keep saying this. The ideas presented are not my problem. It's the execution. I do not mind at all the fact that this is a quick read, that this is very action focused, that this is just kind of the go, go, go. That's totally fine with me. I'm even okay that it's, I'm going to say, a little story light, and it's really just kind of like, fight. I'm okay with that idea, but again, it's the execution of it all that just made me sit here at the end of it and be like, oh, okay, so we've still got these same problems going on. And I mean, those are all so specific. I don't want to take time
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
them just
Yeah.
yet. So please pass the
Which we
microphone to
will,
somebody
yeah.
else.
All right, I'll cut you off there. Moon, what are your quick takes on this issue so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I I definitely echo a lot of what Delta said because I do appreciate the quicker pace to everything and just kind of the scale of everything that's at play. I think that's kind of cool. Um, yeah, I mean, we'll get into specifics a little bit more, but I there are some issues with the execution that I had as well. Um, some some surprising things too. I'll wait until we get there, but some it's not
Nice tease, yeah.
yeah, it's not just like anything having to do with the plot or the dialogue specifically, although there are some things to talk about there as well. But some things that I'm not used to with this comic where that I was taken aback by in terms of the presentation a little bit that I think fell a little short. But also, there were some pretty cool visual things in here as well.
So okay, I love this issue. It was peak. Um, I enjoyed every page of it.
What a
Um,
liar.
Just like that, we're
Ro-
back to looking for a new fourth host of Teletraan
Robert
Tapes.
Kirkman did a great. Okay, so um, the only thing I can say that like without going like too much into it is um I like the action, but that's it. I didn't really like anything else. Like I think the action was cool. I think some of the art pieces is cool, but everything else I didn't like. I didn't like the pacing and dialogue.
All right, the things that make up a comic book. Yeah, that's um,
He's
yeah,
not
no,
wrong.
so I agree with all three of you, really. This was a tough one for me because this was something that it's a big set piece of the story arc. We're here in issue 29. There's one more issue 30, and then that'll wrap up volume 5 of the book, and then we'll move on to, we know we've got a Megatron centric issue in 31, and that will kick off then the next, whatever the next story arc is, and we still don't know who the next artist is on the series. So we're kind of like finishing up here with the Dan Mora 6 issues, and yeah, it's been a really uneven experience for me, and we'll dive into it. And just to get it out of the way in the beginning, like I had a lot of difficulty processing what this issue provided us, and doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. It just means that there are some problems involved. And well, I'll say it up front, and I will speak for the three of you as well. We still enjoy reading Transformers. We still, I know we're kind of like starting off with this, like, I don't know, there's problems here, like I don't know, but I think
We have a
so.
podcast dedicated to it, so
Right, and but that doesn't mean, like, it has to be,
It's a good
we
point.
have to approach it on what our reactions are, and we could come
yes.
back in a year and then revisit what our thoughts were, and then be like, "Yeah, you know what? Like, that was we'll have 12 more issues under our belt and be like, "Oh, yeah, well, that's where they were thinking there." So it'll just be fun. It'll be a fun experiment to see where our minds are after there's been more time in this. You know, I know, Moon, we were talking before we were recording, and maybe those issues are resolved. Maybe they won't be resolved. Maybe this 6 issues is going to be what it needs to be, and then we'll officially turn the page on the series once we get maybe a new regular artist on the series, because it was announced pretty early on that Dan Mora was going to do the 6 issues, so we kind of knew. There was the hype leading into it because Dan Mora is such a big name in the industry, and I think that's what it needed to be, and the excitement has been there, but now pretty quickly, I think part of me processing these issues has already been looking to the future, like, okay, this is what this is, but what's it going to look like in a couple months with new art, and so I've kind of, I don't know if that's fair or unfair to Dan Mora, but like that's kind of where my mind went while reading these issues. But all right, so we'll get into it more. We still like Transformers. Let's talk about it. Now, normally we break the issues up into different sections because the each issue typically does have multiple plot points that we are that we catch up with each issue. Here with issue 29, it really is. It's Prime and his Autobots, and it's Megatron and the Decepticons, and they're fighting. They're just fighting this entire issue. So there might be some unnatural breaks, but we'll kind of get through it because it really is just one huge set piece uh, action scene, pretty much. So we'll start off on page 1 with Megatron going in for seconds on Trailbreaker. We pick
Nice.
right where or issue 28 left off, where Megatron is feeding on the corpse of Trailbreaker, and it's just he's like see, hey, Megatron is honorable. He says, "In your honor, I will savor every drop." So Megatron back to being honorable. But we get another dot in there because the Decepticons are like, what is going on here? Like they're they're unsure of like Megatron because this is new for them as well apparently. So it was something that we saw Megatron somewhere we saw Megatron go, and we were taken aback by it. So it's nice to see that it's being portrayed that the Decepticons are also taken aback by it. Maybe not Skywarp. He seems to be really, really into it. But I love Rumble's face here because he's like, bro, like what?
Looks like he's about to
What am I
throw
looking
up.
at here? Exactly. He's like he's gonna lose it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you get Megatron there, and then he is going to town, getting seconds on Trailbreaker, and then you see a word bubble that says Megatron, and it's Prime that kind of comes in the scene, interrupts his feeding, and just immediately slices him with the Energon axe, and this is like I will end you for what you have done, and it could get some dialogue here where it's long past time for you to pay your foul deeds, Decepticon. The poison of our conflict has spread far enough. And, you turn the page and you get another up close battle with Megatron and Optimus Prime, which I honestly didn't think we'd get this, so soon again because, round 2 of Megatron and Optimus. But here it is. Megatron continues on saying the poison, where you see poison, I see glorious purpose. And, yeah, so it's kind of wordy. Optimus Prime, ridding the world of your hypocrisy is a most worthy charge, no matter the effort required. Yeah, this is there's some
Tiring
good,
you out just reading it.
we're on page 2. I'm just like, man, this is like the dialogue. I want to get through what's happening here, and then we'll dive into like my reactions. I'm just having a hard time getting through what's actually happening without talking about the dialogue itself. So yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, they exchange blows, and then Megatron is like, he's ready. He's a deep rooted passion for Prime's death, and he gets ready to kind of get a full on blast, and who cuts in, but it's Shredhead. Shredhead pops in there with the shield, takes the blast, and there's a recoil that Shredhead gets knocked back. Megatron kind of falters. He's stunned, and then the Autobots come in for backup. So we're gonna pause here, just because this seems like maybe a nice place to break a couple pages in. All right, guys, talk to me about this opening. This opening battle has sees Prime and Megatron re-engaged. So we're gonna start with I'm gonna pick on Moon. Moon, what are you thinking here?
All right, so I'll start with the stuff that I like. Like first of all, I have to say that I think that Sarah Stern is doing an amazing job with the color work in this issue. Uh, it's not necessarily surprising because we've seen her work before and it was really good, but I just think that it's really accentuates some of these action shots. Like I love the green background behind Optimus as he slices Megatron, and then the next panel is like this pink like background. So the color work is great. I like a lot of some of the lettering with the sound effects that we're seeing. Like it seems very of the like Daniel Warren Johnson run at times, and I appreciate that. And this is a recurring thing in this issue, but I also like the how we see the reflections of different characters in the like, what did you call that? The lens of
Yeah.
Megatron's
So,
fusion cannon.
not to I had a question about that. Now, in have we seen that before? Because I always kind of envisioned the cannon just being like this hollow kind of like gun barrel type thing without like a lens in there. Is that something we've seen before, or it's not something that I can remember ever seeing.
I
Just but
don't
it's
think we've seen it in the comic, but I mean that's like what it's the toy is, right? The G1 toy that was like the scope, right?
that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So
So
I think, yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense necessarily, but it's it's a cool visual. Like it just kind of, I don't know. I don't ask me to
yeah, no,
explain the
yeah, no,
physics
no, no,
of
no.
how
I not
this.
I just wasn't sure. I just because I always envisioned it being like kind of like hollow in there. But that's maybe just me. But I like seeing the reflection. I think that's like I like you know I like when you can utilize you can tell more story by showing a reflection of something in on the page as well. So I do like that as well. Sorry, cut you off. Go
Yeah, no,
proceed.
no
Yeah.
worries. I also like that, Shredhead finally gets to do something again.
Yeah.
Um, it's been a while since we've seen them do anything. Um, some also really good color work and lettering during that section. Um, and yeah, I mean, the Transformers fan and the G1 fan in me, when we see this like group shot of all the Autobots charging in, it's just like, yeah, man, cool. That's cool. I like Transformers, you know? Um,
Yeah.
but uh, as far as the things that I didn't care for, um, yeah, I'm struggling with Kirkman's Optimus Prime. Mostly the dialogue. And I hate to say it because last issue I thought was probably the best that he has written the character because
Mhm.
his interactions mostly with Ultra Magnus, but we got a little bit with the other Autobots at the end. Um, it just felt like Kirkman was keeping it a little bit more simple in terms of the dialogue and like more straightforward. Maybe that's a better word. Um, and here he's just kind of falling back into what we've seen before, where I don't know, it's just it's overwrought. Like that's how I would describe it. At least it feels that way to me. Like when it's probably not good to keep comparing this to Johnson's run and everything, but it's kind of inevitable, because this is a continuation of that story. But like to me, the way that Johnson wrote Optimus Prime, like the dialogue for him specifically, it's like that's Optimus Prime. It felt effortless, it felt natural. It's like that's G1 Optimus, that's Peter Cullen. And the way the Optimus has been, uh, for the most part, with a few exceptions here or there, during Kirkman's run, it's kind of like somebody uh, pretending to be Optimus Prime. Like somebody. This the comparison. This is not a very flattering comparison, and maybe it's not this bad, but it like kind of reminds me of like Prime Directive from Dreamwave, or even like the Siege cartoon, where it's just like, these people have like an idea of who Optimus is and how he should like sound and how he should talk. And it's very far away from what I think of that character's voice being. And I think that, I just don't think that it's super consistent with where Johnson had the character when we started this series. Um, Maybe not in terms of, well, a little bit in terms of characterization, but the dialogue specifically. So, yeah, that's, there's a list of things I liked and things I don't like for you.
yeah, I just before I bring in the other two guys, I just something that while reading this scene with Optimus Prime, I feel like the Optimus Prime that we have known from the series so far would focus more on the fact of what he's witnessing Megatron do to Trailbreaker in this moment. Not big issue Autobots Decepticon war. It would be more personal in the fact that you say that you care about our people and you want to lead, but like you're feeding off of the corpse of one. Like so, I feel like it would be he would come at Megatron, because what's he say? He says, look what you have become. There is no kindness or passion left within you. I feel like he would be more to the point of referencing Trailbreaker in this moment. Like he is like one of his soldiers there, and it's this kind of like bigger idea type stuff that Kirkman is having Optimus say in these moments, and I just that's what I'm. That's what's harder for me to wrap my head around to make it. I want to see it more personal and not like big epic kind of like our war has gone on for too long, and it's just I don't know, like it just that was difficult for me to get through. Um,
Yeah, no,
but
I
yeah,
agree with you 100%. Like, it doesn't have to be a full on, like, taking the time to like cradle Bumblebee. Like, even in the Energon universe, like 20, what was that, 2024 special, where, even Braun just gets like a Braun, no, like even just
Yeah.
like something like that.
yeah, yeah. It just he like doesn't. I don't know that he references. I mean, it's hard because it just jumps right into the action, and there's no pause for him to like really anybody to really address Trailbreaker until like later on. They like I forget, or maybe I'm missing. Maybe I'm thinking of the preview for issue 30.
I think you're
The big,
thinking of the preview.
yeah, I am. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got those confused. Yeah. So it doesn't happen in this issue. It doesn't happen until next issue. And yeah, I don't know. But yeah. So we'll pause there. But I'm going to bring in. Let's go. Swizz. What are your thoughts on this opening sequence here?
Are you guys implying that like Trailbreaker is like Optimus's like least favorite soldier because he had no reaction?
I think
I
it's
mean,
confirmed.
Yeah,
I
it's
clearly is like,
basically confirmed. I mean, Bumblebee gets cradled, and I mean Optimus like, oh Braun, no, no, not Braun, and Trailbreaker's like, anyways, okay, no, I don't know what else to really add. I feel like Moon hit all of what I was gonna say. I will say, it is cool to see the Energon X again,
yeah,
because we haven't seen it for so long. And I mean, I'm just gonna double down with the dialogue as well. It just like I feel like it's just bloated. Like with the stuff Optimus says, it feels bloated. And like now it's like even it's spreading to other characters because I don't like Megatron's dialogue in this issue at all. Like not not even just he just sounds very mustache twirling evil villain. That's kind of how that's the vibes I get of him now, which is a shame because this guy was one of my favorite versions of Megatron, and I just now he just is kind of your normal. I'm a mean guy, and I just ate one of your soldiers. Deal with it, bud. So I don't know. I don't know what
yeah,
else to really add. They just the dialogue in this is it's weird to say the dialogue feels bloated when this is a very action-packed,
right, yeah,
issue, but, like, for anyone, like, confused what I mean by that, and, like, I'm being serious, I'm not joking, I'm not being sarcastic, but, like, if you, like, read this with all the action, you just kinda see what these characters are saying, and you're just kinda like, "Okay, like, that is definitely some dialogue to be added in with all the action." It's just, I don't like
I
yeah, like, it's out of character, but, like, it's just very bloated. I think Moon, you nailed it right on the head, like, they have this idea of the character, but they don't actually know the character. Like, it's just and it's strange because, yeah, like, I now that I think about it, last issue, I don't think I really had a problem with Optimus's dialogue, at least, like, so far in the story. I know, like, we've talked about it since this volume, it's been very inconsistent, so but I feel like this is one of the worst iterations of Prime's dialogue just because, like, he throws the term like corrosion and poison and foul deeds, and I don't know, it just
yeah.
sounds doesn't sound very Optimus to me.
Like I do have a deep rooted passion for your death. Like,
Yeah, that's like
okay.
that was like okay, like
Yeah. Yeah, it's we've and again, like this is I thought this would be easier to really um to move past the Daniel Warren Johnson era. I thought by like 4 or 5 issues in, I'd be like, okay, like I've come to grasp with where we're at, and I should be okay with it. But it's very hard, and I still make those comparisons. And forgive me because I'll do it multiple times, but sure. But it's like, oh, if this was Daniel Warren Johnson, and it's not. It's just, it's hard to. It's not that it's just Daniel Warren Johnson versus Robert Kirkman. I'm not pitting them against each other. It's just if you want us to believe that this is the same character, I prefer to have a more similar voice. And like that's I don't think that's unreasonable. However, it is fair to say that Robert Kirkman should be able to write him the way he wants to write him and portray him, and that's fair and that's okay too. It's just I'm still gonna have those the reactions. My before Delta, I apologize. I gotta get this one off my chest, and then I'll pass the baton to you. But for me, it's like the sometimes the dialogue is not matching the actions, and they're not like complementing each other like they could be doing, and that's where it's a little disjointed for me, and it almost becomes like let the action stand for itself, and then the words become more wordy because I just want to focus on the action. And then it's like you want to have this quick pace of what's going on, but reading all the dialogue kind of slows you down. Like it slows down the action, and that's why it's like this weird kind of reading experience. So anyway, sorry, Delta. Let's get you in on this conversation here.
Something that I do enjoy about these first few pages is that I feel like, and this is not me. Dan Mora is obviously a very accomplished artist. I have to keep saying this, and so this praise of him is not me trying to be like, "Good job, Mora, you did it." But I really like the evolution of Mora's art here with the character faces. When we first got Mora's art in 25, I had some issues with it. I felt everybody looked very static. I feel like the expressions of characters here are much better. That very first page, we see all the Decepticons, and I feel like you can see, Skywarp being like, yeah, and you can see Rumble Swizz, as you said, looks like he's gonna throw up, and so looking at that side of the art, I was like, oh, great, this is awesome. Or even the scene where Megatron's almost like holding Optimus's head before he hits him with his knee. Megatron's face is like super, kind of squinted, and I'm like, awesome, sweet, love it. That being said, I absolutely agree with you guys when it comes to the dialogue that what I'm seeing on the page and then what I'm reading, they don't match up. And what it feels like to me is that this is a first draft script dialogue. Optimus's very wordy and strange dialogue to me sounds like somebody who only remembers some of the most famous quotes from Optimus Prime and is like, I'm going to have him say that 24/7. And they don't understand that the weight of that type of dialogue is because it's uncommon. I think about some of the best Optimus Prime quotes ever, and I'm like, oh man, yeah, that's great. And this feels like every time Optimus speaks, Kirkman was like, it's got to be the most memorable thing ever. And it's not because it feels like a first draft. And because it's happening every single time, it's like, okay, it's okay for Optimus to say, I'm going to kill you. It doesn't have to be, I will end you for what you have done.
Or it could just be something as simple as this ends now, and then it's
Yes.
like action, 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 action.
Yeah.
And then like, okay, yeah, let's go.
And I think I'm more fine with Megatron's dialogue than you guys, because I'm fine with Megatron being like, hey, where you see poison, I see glorious purpose. Okay, cool. But I don't need Optimus to have a little monologue about foul deeds and the poison of our conflict. Optimus, we get it. Kill him.
Yeah.
That I think back, I'm gonna get called out for being a fake fan. There's a quote, it's probably in Transformers Prime somewhere, where Optimus just kind of says that. He's like, I'm gonna kill Megatron. And you're clapping and standing up. You're like, yes, thank you. Let's just cut to it. I'm gonna kill him. We're gonna end this. And that was this moment, but instead Optimus is like, what are the biggest words out of the dictionary that I can use? And it's like, dude, stop. Like fight. Please fight.
Yeah. It's like it's the and I think it's the idea of letting the art tell the story when that's what you needed to do. I mean, this is the moment where it's like, look, Dan Mora, cook, go. Like this is what I need you to get from here to here, and it's these guys just fighting, and that's okay. And it just feels like it's broken up in a way that it slows it down. It slows down the impact of what's happening, and and even like the transition. So, and then we'll kind of jump into this, and we'll continue on a little bit further. But even in the sense of Shredhead has that moment. They they block the shot there. They get knocked back. Megatron's temporarily stunned, and then just this transition from Megatron kneeling down there, kind of recovering, and then just this shot of the Autobots, which is a great shot of the Autobots charging in, but it feels
I was
clunky in
confused.
the sense of like there's no sound from them, and all you get is Megatron saying no. Like it just is weird. It's just the way that flows. I thought, because I think Mora shared this image of the Autobots and the image of the Constructicons that on the top of the next page.
Mhm.
I think he shared them online, and I was like, oh, that's probably like a double page spread. Like that's awesome. Like that, the teams charging against each other. Like yeah, that's sweet. And to have them truncated here in this way that it's like crammed down in the bottom third of a panel and then transitions to the top third of the next page. It just, to me, that's clunky, and it's basically all it's saying is like, okay, all these guys are here, which yeah, I mean you do need to establish that what characters are present before you jump into this huge fight. But it just, the way that flows, and that's something like I'm going to come back to, like I think a couple times in this issue, is just the way that this flows is just, I just have problems with it. So anyway, we
Can I
we will
ask a
move on.
question
Oh
about
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Actually, I'm still confused by this. I don't understand why Megatron is like, foolish Autobots, and then he sees the Autobots running to him, and then he's like, no, and then we see the Decepticons running, and then he's like, we've lost the advantage. I'm sitting there reading it, being like, what advantage? Have I missed this? Am I wrong here? There's just, I
Well,
don't
it's
understand, why is he getting cut off mid sentence? Maybe I'm an idiot. What is
There's
this?
there's a
yeah.
lot
Go
of
ahead.
this is unrelated, but there's a lot of that. That's one of my pet peeves with this issue, where it's like, man, just let these characters finish a sentence. But to your broader point, I interpreted that as being like, they were sneaking up on the Ark and they wanted to catch the Autobots, unaware,
Okay. Mhm.
by and large, and then the fact that like all of their forces are like here, it's just like, well, okay, that plan shot, but I don't know, maybe
Okay.
that's just me.
Yeah,
They didn't
also
take
I
the
think
full.
Megatron didn't expect so many Autobots to be brought back. I think he was under the impression
Okay.
that the Autobots they fought in the finale are the Autobots that are there. So the fact that he sees like Brawn, Mirage, a new RC, Jetfire's back, like I think he's like, oh man. So yeah, I think that as well.
Gotcha. Okay.
But tactically, wouldn't he have talked to Skywarp and say, "Hey, what?" Because now
Well,
this could be
yeah, you
me
would
forgetting,
assume that.
like,
Yeah.
but maybe they didn't. Were they all brought back online before Skywarp left or after?
I think that was
Oh, that's
after, wasn't it?
yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe
It
I
was
he was
think
after.
it
gone by
was
then. So
after. But yeah, because wasn't Skyward one of the first guys to be repaired? Right? Wasn't it something like
Yeah,
that?
I
yeah,
think
okay,
so.
so it was. So
Because it was
maybe they
Because
before
like
did
that was the
find
Optimus
whole
was
deal
being
with like
repaired.
Thundercracker and like
Yeah,
Optimus.
yeah.
Like, hey, well, okay, so yeah,
I think you're right. Yeah, yeah.
I think
Okay, so then
Skyward only
okay, that
knew
explains
of
that then.
Thundercracker, but not the other
Yeah.
ones.
All right, so that's okay. That is fair. All right, yeah. So let's see where, uh, and that's this is where it gets into and again, I just need to get through what is actually happening, and then we'll talk about it. But so it just basically just continues on. The fight between Megatron and Optimus continues. They trade some more some dialogue that you know uh, yeah, so Megatron is essentially sending the Constructicon saying, "Look, the element of surprise is gone. They have the numbers here as well. So let's do what we came here to do. Snack break is over. Let's go to get Soundwave, and then we'll try to get out of here." So it's just him sending them on the mission to go for the Ark, and then Prime is trading some punches again, and then we get this double page spread of just all of the characters present in the battle and doing battle type things. And again, I think this is like, I don't want to take a break so soon, but like I just want to talk about this double page spread here. So like, what do you guys, this like big impactful moment? What are your thoughts when you turn the page here? Like what hit you? And I think I'm going to start with Swizz this time.
I think I think my jaw would have dropped, but unfortunately this was spoiled to me. So a little bittersweet on that, but I really I thought it was cool. Like I was like, wow, this like to me this was kind of like uh this is what made me see like the potential and Dan Mora for doing Transformers. Because yeah, I've been kind of a critic for like, with his art in this volume, but when I saw this splash page, I was like, wow, like okay, I see the potential. So I thought it was awesome.
I absolutely loved it, but I cannot look past the fact that I feel like Megatron's head is a little too big, and so it makes me think he's like a bobblehead or something. It's just, and I get it. I get it. There's different perspectives, and there's characters in the background who are drawn in a simpler fashion. I totally understand. I get it. I absolutely love this page, but I will never not be able to look at it and not think, why is Megatron's head so big? It would just be funny if every page, every panel, his head just gets bigger and bigger and bigger just a little bit until you're like, what's going on? But no, I think there's a lot of great moments. You got Thundercracker and Skywarp kind of fighting it. RC looks really cool with her gun. Onslaught is one of my favorite Decepticons. I love the fact that he's just getting rammed in that corner by bulkheads. But I agree with Swizz. When I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, color here is amazing. This is really great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I also I thought it was a great two-page spread, and I Swizz touched on this earlier, but it's great to see the axe and the mace come back out. Those are always crowd pleasers. But yeah, I mean, I feel like this is like the first poster-worthy image from Mora's run, which is not to say that he hasn't had some really great pages or panels, but I feel like it was like, every issue or every other issue during the Johnson and Corona years, where it was like, man, this could have been a poster. Like this, there was just that level during that during those 24 issues. And this is the first one where I was just kind of like, damn, this is cool. This is a cool image. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about it. I think I have more to say about some of the
there's
other stuff
there's
later,
another.
but yeah.
Yeah. So so this one, I asked you guys not to set you up here. I just because my reaction, I was actually kind of underwhelmed by this double page spread, and I couldn't quite figure out what it was until I went back and like the page before. It's Optimus Prime and Megatron. They're up close. Megatron's like holding his fist while he's like Optimus Prime is punching him. Megatron grabs his fist, and then with his other hand, Megatron's kind of commanding the Constructicons to go get Soundwave, and then Optimus Prime again, punches him with his left hand, and then Megatron is kind of like, I feel like he's down again. He's like kind of like on his kind of like hunched down because he just got kind of knocked down by Prime, and then it's instantly like where they are, they're up close, and then you just turn the page and it just is like this explosive, like huge battle scene. And like that transition from that page, it just seems like there's a beat missing in my, and maybe it's there because it just needs to be impactful and like here it is, double page spread, big battle happening. But I didn't think this was as impactful as it could have been because one, I didn't really know like, so you get Megatron and Prime right in the front there. Then, but my eye was like, it didn't really know where to go because it just seems like there's so much going on here, and I do understand, and I like the idea that really trying to sell the chaos of this scene. But until you said Delta that it was Onslaught getting crunched by Bulkhead, I couldn't tell you what was happening to Onslaught there. I was
Well, I
like,
can tell you, when I started saying those words, I did not know how to end the sentence, and I just kind of guessed. So I was lucky.
okay,
'Cause
I
I was
don't,
like, who is that hitting him?
I guess that's what it. I'm assuming that's what is
Maybe.
happening. It just so, and it's and I don't want to sound super negative. It's just there's something about this that it does feel like a poster, but it doesn't feel like a complete moment to me. And maybe it's just me. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like I,
No,
I,
no,
I-
it's
you
not
know
just you. Like some of the stuff you touched on in terms of like the flow and like the transition. Um, yeah, that's
but it's
that's a
it is
recurring
maybe
theme.
yeah, and that's what I'm trying to like I'm because here's what it is. Like I want to love this series. I want to continue to love this series, and it's just I'm trying to wrap my head around expectations and not let my expectations get in the way of what this is. And so the thing that I was kind of telling myself after reading it is like, you know, maybe we don't need to see every single beat and then to understand what this is happening. It's just, but the flow of reading the book, it's hard to get past that sometimes, and it's those moments where I'm just trying to um like alter my expectations to just to sit back and enjoy the ride for what it is, and try to not get in my way too much as far as the nitty gritty, because there's a lot here to really enjoy. I'm not. It's not that I don't like this art. I do like this art. It's just story wise, this to me, this feels like if you were to commission Dan Mora and be like, I want a huge poster of a battle sequence with, and I want these characters, like didn't rattle off a whole bunch of characters going on there, and then it's like, okay, well, how do I fit them all in here? So it feels more like that, like let's get all them on one image than it is to like to actually tell like a story moment. And again, I don't know, that could be just me being a little too critical, but yeah, I don't know. I just think that some things get lost in here. Like what's happening to like between them? You get like the brawl and like what is happening down there? Like I don't know. There's just like sections of it where it doesn't read as well as it could, and like some of the Constructicons get lost in the background there. Like what? I guess they are. Okay, I just noticed it now. Like they're running towards the Ark. The Ark is back there. So
Wait, it is? Where?
yeah. So if you look right above Megatron's head to the up
Uh-huh.
and to the right, the Constructicons are running up the hill, and then back in the back, you
Oh,
see the Ark is back there. So
how do you like that?
that's
Oh
that is
man,
Oh.
wow!
that is
I
more
just
storytelling
noticed
than I
the
thought.
arc.
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
read this issue like 4 times, and I've been
yeah.
Looks
trying to
so
figure out
tiny.
they must be close to the arc. I don't know. But with some of these like transitions and whatever, like they
Well,
must be just super close to the arc.
Dude,
or
wait,
the
then how did
Constructicons run really
Magnus
fast.
Well,
well
so we'll
how
talk
did the
about
both
that.
Magnuses get there? What?
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute because which is the next page. Well, actually, we'll talk about that now because that is the next page. So right, so all of this is happening. The Constructicons are rushing up the hill to go to the Teletraan or to the Ark, which I again just discovering this now because I have it on my iPad. I'm just like zooming in, like and this is like I'm fairly certain that Dan Mora does his these kind of pieces, draws them digitally, and that makes sense because it would just be like you could just zoom in and then draw real tiny like stuff, and then because like that to me is a lost until you like, and if you're like, unless you were really looking for it, that's not clear to me. It seemed like just like one big battle sequence, and then you turn the page and it's the Constructicons rushing in to rescue Soundwave, and then you get this cool image of RC Magnus and Ultra Magnus, and but the staging of it was okay. So we'll just say this: it's the Constructicons rushing in to get Soundwave, and it's RC Magnus saying, go ahead, open his cell, and then Ultra Magnus is, so we can put you in right next to your buddy Soundwave. And when I read this, I thought they were already there and they were in a defensive position, like ready to fire towards the Constructicons. But really, what it is the Constructicons rushed in, and then RC and Magnus, Ultra Magnus, followed them in. Were you guys unclear on that as well, or was that just me? Did I maybe just read it wrong?
I honestly have no idea. I'm just gonna be real with you.
Okay.
The blocking of this entire section is
Yeah.
so confusing to me that
Mhm.
it honestly made me start thinking that I was like reading different sections from different issues.
Okay, because that's and again,
Yeah.
that's how I thought. And then even when I went, when I sat down before we were going to record, I was like, I should like let's go, let me go through this and try to break up into sections. And I was like, I don't even know the flow of what's happening here.
Yeah.
And maybe this is me. And I was like, maybe it's just me. Like maybe that's um, but yeah. So okay. So safe to
I
assume
think
that it wasn't just
Yeah, no, I think what makes it tough is that we see RC on the previous page, like just engaging, like I think she's shooting blast off, and then it's just like, oh, they're here, which really, I think it speaks to like the point that you've been hammering, which is that uh, there are a lot of beats missing, and
yeah
it's throughout this entire thing, um, and I mean, it's not inconceivable that I don't, now that you've pointed out where the arc is on that double page spread, like it seems less ridiculous to me that RC and RC Magnus and Ultra Magnus could just appear like this,
yeah.
especially because, theoretically they could just transform and drive up to the arc. Um, but I don't know. I was trying to decide where to say this, but I'll just say this now. But I think that like, on the one hand, I think that maybe uh, the way that this issue is like structured and the way that it flows kind of shows that Mora and or Kirkman, I'm not sure how exactly all of that like shakes out in terms of
Yeah.
what winds up on the page in terms of how everything flows into the next. But I think that the creative team, we'll just say that, uh, has a lot of faith in their readers to fill in a lot of empty spaces between the panels and between the pages in this issue. Um, and I think on the one hand, that's kind of cool because it can be done. You can sit there and kind of like think your way through it or talk your way through it and kind of imagine it. And there's an argument to be made where that's kind of the fun part of comics is kind of imagining the stuff that happens in between the panels to get to these shots. But I think that overall I agree with you, Carl. I think that there's a lot that's missing here, and I mean some of the stuff that you pointed out didn't necessarily bother me as much. Like I did notice
Yeah.
some of it, but there is some stuff like coming up later on where it really stood out to me a bit more. Where it's like, man, I feel like we could have like built up to this a little bit more, or like this could have like flowed into this section like a little bit better. And this part with the two Magni is definitely one of them.
The two Magni. I like that. Yeah.
I have a theory.
Yeah. What you got?
Okay. All right. So we've been talking about this in the last episode of what RC Magnus turns into. My only theory, my only coping as to how this makes any sort of sense is that RC Magnus transforms into a helicopter, picks up Ultra Magnus, and they fly over before the Constructicons can get there because the way it looks is like they were expecting the Constructicons. The way it's drawn and proceed, it's like they were waiting there. So
See. I get you. I
That's
get
what.
what I'm not saying that you're. I like the theory. I think that would be cool if she turned into a helicopter. But
Yeah.
I think this speaks to Carl's point. Like it is like confusing
oh,
staging or
it is
blocking or
confusing. That's what
whatever
I'm
you want to call it.
saying.
Because I think
Yeah.
they're behind the Constructicons. Like they're not.
Oh.
It looks like they're in front of them.
Yeah. That's
But
what
like I think they're
Oh,
behind
wait.
them.
they arrive after the. But when you read
Oh,
it,
you're right.
it reads as if they have already taken a defensive position
Yeah, because
and
that's how
like
I read
this
it. Oh.
the cell of because when I read it,
It's
I was like,
confusing.
first I was like, okay, so they're saying they're like not stopping the Constructicons, and they'd be like, yeah, go ahead and open up the cell. And then I was like, why are they like just like letting them do this? But then it really is because the Constructicons are already like ahead of them, and they're going to the.
Oh.
But there is a way to establish this. If they're arriving on the scene, you could do a shot over the shoulder of like having Ultra Magnus and RC Magnus kind of um like old school Contra, the one Contra level where like you're like over the shoulder and like firing down the like the tunnel at like the wall. um I don't, yeah, it's like that reference for like Moon only probably, but that's
Yep,
okay.
I got it.
Um, but just to establish that like that you're over the shoulder, and then you look down the field and you see the Constructicons running towards the cell, and that blocks the scene so much better, and then it gives an understanding as to why they would kind of be just kind of letting them go, because then the next page, they they break Soundwave out, and yeah, so I guess should we continue on this scene, or
Yeah, let's continue it, because I'm pretty
yeah.
sure we all have very
Yeah, okay, because
very,
this
very
was
much the same
definitely
opinions on what happens in this sequence.
it was definitely one of those scenes where I was, Delta, you mentioned that I was like, what is happening here? What's
Yeah.
this was definitely a scene that I struggled with a lot. All right, so the Constructicons break out Soundwave, and it's much like this panel here, this like the middle panel where you see Ultra Magnus and RC Magnus firing towards the Constructicons. If this would have been something on the previous page to kind of block the scene better, I would have it would have been a much easier read. So anyway, so the Constructicons have the three Constructicons that are there have broken out Soundwave, and they say Constructicons form Devastator. But there's only three of them there, so you get the upper torso of Devastator that forms and comes after Magnus and RC Magnus. And yeah, so okay, so then it transitions from there. So let's talk about this scene here. What did you guys think when you saw half of Devastator formed here? What were your thoughts? I'm gonna start with Delta.
I thought it was a cool idea. When I saw it, I thought, oh, this is, this is neat. It's not, it's not like, whoa, we've never even considered this before. But I thought, oh, that's a really, that's a neat, kind of way to handle this situation. And I love the fact that the Constructicons are even like, hey, we don't have any, we don't have the whole gang here. But like with so many things in this issue, I feel like it's this team on this comic saying, "Hey, isn't this a really cool idea?" And then the reader says, "Yeah, that's cool." And then the writer Kirkman and just everybody involved goes, "Uh-huh. Anyways." And it's like, "Oh, okay. All right." Just like with, RC and Ultra Magnus being like, you guys are going in jail right next to Soundwave. And you're like, "Oh, that's a cool idea." And then you turn the page and it's like, "Anyways, oh, okay."
Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing a page. Anyways, it's a cool idea. I like seeing Devastator with no legs. Neat.
Yeah, that
Cool.
part I
like
like.
it. Yeah, I like that part. I like great page too. I think it's drawn really well. Colors are great. I just feel like at every opportunity and chance for something cool, they're just go to the next thing. And it's frustrating. It feels like Moon, like what you said, how they're cutting off sentences. Just finish the idea, please. Please.
Yeah, the idea of like I would want, if this is what you're presenting, I want to see the Magni, which I like that. I like calling it, because it's
Yeah.
like with describing when those characters are together, tendency is I just want to call them like Magnus and RC, but you're like, wait, I gotta like, there are new names involved here.
Yeah.
But then it gets a mouthful when you're like Ultra Magnus and RC Magnus. So the Magni, well, I like it. So Swizz, I'm gonna let you cook a bit here, because I know you had some thoughts on this scene. So not to take a backseat here, Moon, but I think I'm gonna let Swizz give us his thoughts on this sequence.
Okay. All right. So I know I've been really negative, especially like in the, last month's episode. I have a huge problem. I have a huge problem with this issue, and it's because of this. So, first of all, I want to talk about the good. I think the half Devastator thing is awesome. Like I think that's pretty cool. Um, I don't want to say like it's like body horror because it's not like terrifying to look at, but it's kind of fascinating to see like a half combiner. Like you just see the upper torso and the arms. I think that's cool. And
Yeah.
like I don't know, to me I was kind of like amazed. I don't know, Delta. I think I might just be like a filthy casual because I was like, oh my god, I've never seen something like this before, you know. But I really like this. However, that's where the praise ends. And I'm gonna try my best to not go too much on a tangent here because part of my problem is what happens in the next couple pages. But
Yeah.
why are the Magni,
Here it
we'll call
comes.
them that, struggling against a half combiner and Soundwave who's been in a prison cell? The Autobots have every advantage. Even Megatron admitted that just a couple pages ago. We lost advantage. There should be no reason in the world, and, like, I know it's, like, for the sake of plot, because it's like, "Oh, we're not gonna kill off Soundwave and, you know, half of the Constructicons," but you mean to tell me a freaking reformatted RC who is now a Magnus and the city commander are struggling? And, like, I don't wanna see anyone say, like, they're not dude, they're struggling. Like, they are literally struggling to take down Devastator, and I get it. It's the upper torso of a combiner. I get it. But, like, at the same time, this is Ultra Magnus, man. Like, I was talking to my pops about this, and, like, Magnus, I feel like, is one of those characters who, no matter what, when the odds are stacked against him, he's gonna be there till the very end, and all I see is, like, "Oh, man, more like a half Devastator, but still deadly. Oh, RC, look out! Oh." But yeah, we see in the next couple pages that
Yeah,
okay,
we could talk about it. We could talk about it because
okay,
it
all
cuts to
right,
the action
all right,
outside.
because
Yeah. Go yeah.
because why is Bulkhead able to do crazy enough? And like I know that's a whole team effort, but why is Bulkhead able to do so much damage to Bruticus's head when these two are struggling? And like, I guess now, given what the new context is like, okay, we're kind of under the impression that they're on the back foot because I was under the impression when I first read this, and even rereading it, that the Magni were waiting for them. But now, after what you guys said, it's very confusing. But from what you guys said, like they're on the back foot. They just caught up to them. So okay, I guess, but still, this is this is so weird, and, like, I know I sound like such a huge nerd, but, like, dude, I like the power, like, the power scale with these characters. Like, I like to think, like, Ultra Magnus is a pretty strong, powerful Autobot. Like, he's the
I
city
was
commander, he's the
I was
Magnus,
half
man.
to just to kind of back you up there.
Yeah.
I was half expecting back in like issue 23 when he was like rallying the troops. I thought in issue like 23, 24, I thought we were going to see him take on one of the combiners himself. I thought like
Yeah.
they like Superion would take on Bruticus and then maybe Magnus as like amped as he was would like take on Devastator or vice versa or take on Bruticus or whatever.
Right.
I thought he was like he in that moment he was pumped up so
He was
much
the
that I was like
cavalry, man.
I would believe that he could take on a combiner in that situation.
Isn't there a
With
deleted
some help,
scene
but yeah.
from the '86 movie? Isn't there a deleted scene where like Ultra Magnus like
Yeah. He
I
blows up
think
came
so.
in
Devastator.
and
Yeah.
Like, they make
yeah,
Devastator uncombine. Yep.
yeah.
With the
Yeah.
shoulder rockets. Yeah, it's so strange, and, like, even with that, with, like, issue 24, issue 23, when Magnus rallies the troops, he was the cavalry, and, like, what we saw before Optimus Prime, got out of all that, like, Magnus was still the only one standing. Like, everyone else was, like, brutally injured. Magnus was still standing till the end, and that's just the type of character he is. He is the, you know, the I guess, perfect soldier, right? Like he's got the durability. So it's weird when like someone who has the title of Magnus, someone who's like that, now there's two of them. You guys are struggling against Soundwave in a upper torso of Devastator. It's not like that big of a deal at the end of the day. Like you know what I mean?
Right,
Like I
right,
get
right,
it.
right. Yeah.
It's plot. You know,
Right.
Soundwave's
They
not
do.
going to be done. But I just find it a little bit strange because with what follows, you know, the ragtag team of Autobots in the forest not take them down, but they make
They
quick work of Bruticus. Like it's just it's such
yeah.
a head scratcher, man, because
In the
it should have been the opposite. It should have been the opposite. It should have been boom bang done. Team Magnite takes these guys down, and you know they go and help the Autobots in the forest with Bruticus. It's a head scratcher. It's just a head scratcher. I don't know.
for sure. No,
I'm
I do.
biased, so I like Ultra Magnus.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
just gonna say that
I
to everyone listening, he's literally top 3 favorite character for me. So I'm super biased, but like, come on.
no, I agree. And I'm gonna get my thoughts out of the way here first, and then I'll pass over to you, Moon and Delta. But I just to back up what Swizz is saying here, you know, before it even got to this point, like I love the idea of like the half combiner. It's a cool image, like it's a cool page. Like I think that's a fun moment. But in my like as I'm in my like head canon, I agree. Like the Magni should be able to, even before they get to if in presented the way that this is presented, I still would have faith that the two of them could stop the Constructicons from even making it to the cell. The way that it's like presented here. Now I get it. I get the idea that the point of the plot is to get Soundwave out of there, and I'm all for that. That's okay. It's just the way that this unfolds. I would have much rather have seen they had no, like they were the Constructicons were able to get in there and something else stopped the Magni from the Constructicons breaking them out. It's just the idea that they even got that far bothered me, and then again that's coming from the point of like I love Ultra Magnus and I feel like I have faith in that dude that he could get it done. But and then to add in RC Magnus, so this is like her shining moment to like, look, these are like Prime's two best soldiers, and they're kind of quickly overwhelmed by half of Devastator. And maybe it's the surprise factor. Maybe they're just like they were not expecting that, and that's fair.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It cuts away too soon. I would have rather have seen like some more interaction there, and then and especially since what we see after that. But anyway, Moon Delta. I know we're kind of praising Magnus here, maybe too much. I don't know, but what were your thoughts on how this unfolded?
I agree with Delta like 100% about this whole like section. Like
Yeah.
it's a cool idea. I mean, all of you guys have said that. It's a cool idea, but like Delta specifically said that, it doesn't really do anything with it. And I can't help but think about like, in the past, this is just the first example that came, into my head where, thinking about the ways that uh Johnson used Astro Train and like his alt modes in like some fun ways for like combat, and then like also used that to build up to show how powerful Megatron was. Like it was like a multi like function thing, and so it's
Yeah.
like if you're gonna throw like something cool in there, or if you're gonna like utilize these characters, I feel like you should like go all the way with it and like figure out something cool that you could only do with like half of a combiner. I don't know what it is. I'm not writing the Transformers comic. That's probably
Yeah.
why, or at least I mean part of the reason why, is because I have no idea what that would be or what the thing that you could do with half a combiner that is specific to half a combiner. But it
It,
just would have been cool that if you were gonna do that, to do something really unique with it.
and that's a great point because they don't I don't think there's any transformations in here outside of like I think there's like one shot of Thundercracker kind of transforming or no, never mind. I'm mistaken. Discard that. That was the aerial bots that are behind him. I thought the one shot of the Autobot or the team shot of the Autobots. I thought it was like a transformation of Thundercracker flying in and then transform. But actually, it's the aerial bots back there. So anyway, scratch what I just said. But yeah, there's no like real fun transformation stuff like where you actually see it happening, where the momentum carries the action forward, and like that's what it is. It's like they're here in this hallway, and then it's okay, form, and then you turn the page, and it's there they are, and it's it's that missing beat of like it happening, and it's just it's like there's a checklist of fun things we want to see, and like that's what you get. It's like, oh, I want to see half Devastator. Okay. And then here it is in this page. And it's fine. It's just there's just something missing. There's just like something in the action that this doesn't flow for me that I believe or it tells enough of the story of what's happening here. It's just like little snippets of stuff. And that's what it's a cool page. But you're right. Like I would much rather have seen something else to get to that where it's like this happening. So I don't know. But Kirkman loves like the big surprise splash. There's always like the end page reveal, those big moments, and then to get that you almost need to have no lead up to those moments, and that's it's almost like by design. Like much like the double page spread we got earlier. It's like, oh, there's up close action, boom, there's this big moment, and then this is them says form Devastator, boom, there it is. So it's like it's those like trying to have the impact that way in instead of having the art take you on that journey and getting there naturally. So yeah, anyway, so we'll move on. We'll take the action back outside. Swizz, you touched on it. Bulkhead is in the grasp of Bruticus, and Megatron and Optimus Prime are continuing their fight. Megatron gets like the or Brawn gets the what is it, rack, gets the mace to the face there, while my guy Beachcomber is tending to wildlife. And this, I do like seeing the Skywarp do the teleportation again. It's good to kind of bring back that into the story, which is fun. You see him taking on Shredhead there, and does this teleportation, which is again, it's just little snippets of action that's happening, and that's fine. I still, the only thing this doesn't do is I don't understand where everything is in relation to everything else, and that's okay. Like I think it's just supposed to sell the chaos of the moment that's happening, and you get to this you turn the page. This is where the Autobots take down Bruticus, and yeah, I don't know. I have to be honest. Me personally, I don't have a lot of experience with Bulkhead. It's not Bulkhead's not a character that I have ever really know much about. Just whatever. So I didn't really know if this was part of his character. He's just he obviously has a framework of an Autobot that could do some damage. But I just was like, wow, this guy's like just punching Bruticus and he's knocking him back. He's pretty much already there. Just from him alone, has already knocked Bruticus off balance, and then brings in what is it? So Sideswipe, Brawn, looks like Jetfire, and Shredhead then help officially take Bruticus down. Which, okay, that's fine. I mean, that's like, I guess that's it's okay to have that, but it's just when you compare it again to the half a Devastator, it's questionable. So it's like it's a cool action moment. It's just like getting there was questionable. But again, I know I'm jumping around all over the place, but you know what? That's not me. That's this comic, I feel. So all through this, you get snippets of action of Optimus Prime and Megatron, and really their battle is all over the place too. You go from the page where Bulkhead is in Bruticus's grasp. There's a shot of Prime is off in the distance. He's in his truck mode, and he's kind of, I guess, driving towards Megatron. And then a couple pages later, he's got the axe out again. He's transformed, and they're up close again. So it's just snippets of like snapshots of a battle, and I guess that's fine. And maybe that's the point. But it's I think it gets somewhat egregious on this next page. After the page where they're taking down, in the process of taking down Bruticus, you get this another double page spread, and this is where for me things kind of fell apart as to what was happening and where it was happening and how it was happening. So you get this double page spread of it's Ravage and Thundercracker up close fighting, and then in the background is where you get Bruticus kind of tumbling down and then splits apart into the Combaticons. Now, all throughout, you still have Prime who's fighting Megatron. Lifts him up over his head, throws him down, and then I lost the action here. And I mean, you get Bruticus falling, but I didn't really know where Megatron was being tossed. I didn't immediately recognize where who Megatron is is hitting, and then I also didn't understand Mega or Prime just has a moment quick with Wheeljack. But I was like, because I was like, well, where was Wheeljack in this, and how it's and again, I apologize. I know that this is not flowing like naturally, and it's hard. This is a hard issue. But there's this moment where Prime talks to Wheeljack, and he says, "We need you, Wheeljack. This fight isn't over yet." I was like, where was Wheeljack? Like, what was he? Like, is there something that I missed where he got like taken out or something? Like, I, I don't know. Before we turn the page after this double page spread, um, help me out here, guys. Is this just me in this whole action sequence, or like what am I missing here? And I'm gonna pick on Moon first because yeah, I feel like I haven't picked on it in a while. So what are you thinking about this whole sequence?
So first of all, it's not just you. I mean, I'm gonna have to depend on Delta or Swizz to explain where
Oh
Wheeljack is
no.
or where Wheeljack was, I should say, because I was just as confused by that as you. Because it's like, okay, I guess maybe because I think the last time we saw him, he was being attacked, like he was dealing with Rumble, I think, and that was like way early on. Um, and then we see like Megatron collide with Skywarp, but so I guess like maybe they were fighting. I don't know. It is confusing, not just you. But about this like section in general. So I I do think that this is another cool idea. Because to me, I think I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it's like snapshots of a battle, and it's like very chaotic and it's very hectic. It's in some ways it's like the spirit. It's in the spirit of the siege of Autobot City in the animated movie, where you have all these different kinds of sequences that are kind of happening. Um, I think that I just I think that there were some missed opportunities here, though, to like really kind of nail that kind of homage. Not that I think that they were specifically going for that, but they could have at least nailed how much more satisfying that was in the animated movie. Um, and I think again, it just comes down to like how everything flows and again, like just the sense of location and proximity and blocking and all of this stuff. Because yeah, like I think I think there's this clear progression, at least with the Bulkhead and Bruticus stuff, where it's like we get the initial grab of Bruticus, like grabbing Bulkhead, and then he's starting this process, like punching him in the next bit, and then like the Autobots are helping him. There's like this continuous through line with that, and then
Yeah.
it kind of recedes into the background where we see all this other stuff happening, and like I feel like they could have done that with some of these other things that are happening. Specifically, I'm thinking about the Thundercracker stuff because this is actually, I mean, some of the other stuff, maybe not so much, but like this is a great way. This would be a great way to kind of transition into what's coming with Thundercracker
Right.
because
Right.
we put the Bruticus and the Autobot stuff into the background, and then we've literally got Thundercracker and Ravage in the foreground. Which I have to say, like I love this image of Thundercracker and Ravage. I've I love the amount of detail that's on here, and I know that it's like digital, but I love the way that the digital ink is applied, and like the shading and everything.
Yeah.
I do have to say, I am absolutely baffled by the
Yes.
decision to have this
Yes.
Crackoon sound effect
Yes.
covering Thundercracker's face.
Thank you.
Like, why? Like, it should be the focal point of like what's
Right.
happening, and
It's
it's a great image, and it's like it's one of the consistent things that I've said about Dan Mora's art is that I want to see more emoting and I want to see like more emotions. And it's like we're getting it, but now we're like covering it up with the lettering, and like it's even more baffling because there's like a lot of like empty space to the right of it. And it's like you couldn't just like scooch it over just a little bit so you're not covering up his face. But
Yeah, and maybe that's because it would take it into, like, the gutter of the pages, but, like, I don't know,
Ah,
and
I think like it doesn't matter digital, and like
right.
I think like so yes, like when you're reading it in like a trade or like a hardcover or something, sure you're
Yeah,
gonna get some loss, but like when you're I read it for the first time in as a floppy, and there you can definitely do that. Like if
for
you can
sure.
put a character like going over, then you should be able to do it with sound effects too. I mean, that's just my opinion, but yeah, I mean, you're right. Maybe that's a reason why they didn't do it.
But what it tells me, like, when I first saw this image, I looked right past everything that was going on. It just was noise, because what you're telling me is by having the Krakoom, which one, I don't even know what Krakoom is. It Ravage hitting Thundercracker? Is that the sound that you're supposed to, but, like I lost what was happening altogether. I just saw Ravage there, and then my eye just took me straight to where Prime and Megatron were. It took me a while to realize that Bruticus was falling in the background. Like, it took me, I was like, oh, because then my eye went, so it went from Ravage to Megatron and Prime, and then up to Bruticus. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Now I do like. I think you made a really great point as the transition of the through line of the Bruticus action of the Autobots taking him down, and then with other bits of action, which also I gotta add, some of it doesn't make sense as well. Because what is it? Is it Sideswipe who is then firing on Rumble, and it says "Look out below," which out of context, like, it just seemed like a random, like, why was that necessary?
Hey
Like, you
guys, do
could,
you remember he has a jetpack? Remember G1,
right, but
G1.
like, yeah, like, but like, what, that there's no need. Like, I don't need dialogue there, because what is happening? So anyway, whatever. That's fine. That's maybe overly nitpicky, but yeah, snippets of action, Bruticus falling down, and then it transitions to have Bruticus in the background, kind of like in like a, like a war movie where you just see something happening, and then that is then happening in the background as you then kind of pass off the action to somewhere else, and it's Thundercracker in this case, but Thundercracker is lost because his face is covered up with the words, and coupled with the the wheeljack moment, and then it makes it super clunky
Yeah,
when we
the
turn
transition again.
this page. Yeah,
Major
so
major beats missing. Both like
it just
where are Ravage and Skywarp in the next page, Like
right, and so again, this is not the normal flow of how we typically do this, but like I'm just gonna go with it. So like the next page, you do see Thundercracker on the ground, I guess presumably taken down by Ravage, and then Megatron is like, Prime throws Megatron. I'm guessing is because we're looking at Prime from behind, right? So presumably he's throwing Megatron forward, right?
away from
So
Thundercracker, you mean?
away from Thundercracker, right? Exactly. So away from Thundercracker, and then you turn the page, and it's like he's right there standing over Thundercracker, which is a great, cool image. But it's like, it's again like the idea of Half Devastator. It's like, I want a moment where Megatron confronts Thundercracker. And it's like, okay, doesn't matter how you get there, just throw that page in there somewhere. And that's like what you got there. Because when you're reading a story, it did not. I was like, wait, what happened? Like, I'm reading it thinking, what's going on with Wheeljack? And then turn the page. Whoa, okay, it's Megatron standing over Thundercracker. So it's that stuff that's just, the moments aren't bad. It's just getting there is jarring, and it's just, that's what I had a hard time with. So, um, and again, I've kind of gone off. I know I talked to Moon. I'm forgetting who even talked about this section. So, um, Delta, have you talked about like this Bruticus sequence at all? I
No,
apologize. I've just been kind of locked into my confusion of what's going on. So,
no, and I can sum up everything that we've been talking about, everything about these pages, with two words, and it's I'm tired. Man, just looking at these pages is just like,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh man, and I will always openly admit that I have an issue reading comics to read the dialogue or to take one look at the page and be like, okay, cool, next page, let's go. Like, I think we all get excited, when reading
Yeah.
comics sometimes, and so I know even to myself, hey, I need to go back and I need to study these pages a little bit. I need to take the time because there's always something I'm gonna miss, but the studying of these pages is not enjoyable. It's a chore. And it's just a
Yeah.
constant it's me constantly looking at going, "Wait, wait," and I understand. I like the idea of almost it being, it is chaos. It's crazy. It's almost like a collage of little moments. This is happening over here, and then, oh, Rumble's getting shot at over here, and then uh, you got Skywarp and Mirage over here, and as I said in the beginning, and as we've all said so many times, idea cool, execution no. It's this constant battle of this is a neat idea, but you're just not pulling it off for me. And it's just and I just and I'll say this one thing, this is probably only a me issue. I like the little scene of Beachcomber protecting wildlife. But Kirkman, we can be done with the deer. It had meaning because it was special. You don't have to. It's like this is a horrible analogy, but it's like when somebody tells a funny joke and then that other guy in your friend group that you really don't want to be there says it like 4 more times, and you just have to look at him and be like, "Hey, shut up, please." We get
Is that me in this group?
Yeah, I liked seeing the deer with Beachcomber, but I also it's just that which is also a me thing because I do have I got a commission from an artist. His name's Maxi Dallo, uh, of Beachcomber like in the woods with deer. So like I
Mhm.
like seeing Beachcomber and the deer. It just reminds me of like the Golden Lagoon, which I get it, but like um yeah, I think it's just an easier, real quick panel to have it be Beachcomber and deer as opposed to like Beachcomber and some like bunnies or like a moose or like whatever might be. So yeah, I don't know. I have less of an issue with that, but yeah.
But I think we probably all agreed that it's almost, besides the deer thing, it's almost a chore
Yes.
reading this
Yeah.
action.
That point is yeah, and I got to be honest with you, like when you said I'm tired, I am struggling just in talking about because really it's just one big giant fight, and
Mhm.
because the action seems so disjointed, it's difficult to even describe what's happening. So
Yes.
just the act of us doing the recap of the issue is a challenge for me to just get through what is happening because I keep getting distracted by like, oh yeah, and that seems off, and that seems off, and it's so I don't know what kind of listen this episode is going to be. Maybe it's just chaos all around. I don't know. I apologize to any listeners. Like, what the hell is happening right now? But yeah, it's just the moments are fun, but getting there is a chore. And in the moment of Megatron standing over Thundercracker, um, he has that moment where he's like, don't even don't bother getting up, traitor. You're right where you
Mhm.
belong, on your knees, welcoming oblivion. And then that's where Megatron has his next break where his eyes turn purple, screaming in agony. Which I do like that panel of like the purple kind of like whatever is happening, like the color blast from like
Mhm.
behind him, then the layout of the panel. There's some really cool stuff that's happening here
Yeah.
in like snapshots of pretty cool stuff. This page I think is a great page. I like the angle of Megatron standing over Thundercracker, so that's an impactful moment. And then so it's not like I do think that the art has improved from Mora, but like it's just there's a lot that I still question here. But all right, so Megatron has his break and Thundercracker is still he kind of snaps back to wanting to like take care of Megatron. He's like, Megatron, are you okay?
Mhm.
And then but again, it's the whole can anybody finish a sentence? Like
Yes.
what happens here is it goes from Megatron falling, and then the way that this is laid out, it transitions to Rumble saying, "Oh crap, the
He's the
weird eye
goat,
thing
by the
is."
way.
Yeah, yeah.
Rumble's the
I got to
best
tell
thing
you,
in the comic right
I
now.
I I 100% had that in something I wanted to talk about. Rumble, to me, the greatest improvement that Kirkman has brought to this series has given Rumble a voice, and it's
I
awesome.
love him. He's hilarious.
Between like the looking like he's gonna throw up earlier, and then
Yes.
it's like, oh
Yeah.
man, the eye thing's happening, guys. This is
Yeah.
not good.
I think Rumble is like supposed to be like the audience, like the reader, like the reader's reaction to everything.
Yes.
I love it. Yeah, this is it's awesome. But again, it's a little confusing because in this moment, so Megatron falls over. And Rumble's like, somebody do something. Anybody? And then I'm not entirely sure. Is that then? So
I
I
was
guess
gonna
this
ask
is
too. I don't know who it
Skywarp
is.
getting. So it's Sky. I think it's Skywarp, like on his knees, kind of getting up. Um, and then so Onslaught is surrendering to Brawn, Bulkhead, and Wheeljack. And Wheeljack's mentioning like, "Hey, did anyone see Scrapper? He was just here." So, which is alluding to what happens next. But yeah, so they're basically saying they're at the point where Prime is saying the Decepticons are, with Megatron down now, the Decepticons are at their weakest, and which again, this doesn't quite make sense to me either. But it's over, surrender now. We mean you no harm. Your lives are not worth. And then this big explosion happens. So before we turn the page here, what do you guys think of like Prime going from I'm going to rid the Earth of Decepticons to seeing Megatron eating Trailbreaker, going through all of this this fighting, and then he's like, Decepticons, it's over, surrender now. We mean you no harm. Like, does that track for anybody?
Absolutely
Is that just
not.
me?
There's no issues with that at all. It makes perfect sense.
Like, it's just so inconsistent. Like
I think you could even just cut the "we mean you no harm" and just have him say your lives
Yeah.
are not worth,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
for him to say that in this moment, I had to put the comic down. I was like, what is happening?
if you
What
mean them
is
no
going
harm, what are
on?
you doing? Like,
Yeah, what
Exactly.
what is going on? You do mean them harm. You're beating them
Yeah.
up.
they deserve it. So, it took me out of it. Just because I was like that I don't, it doesn't track. And those
I think they're trying to
things
make
should
him
not.
altruistic. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I
No,
think
please, yeah, it's fine.
they're trying to make Optimus altruistic and always be the better guy, which I don't have a problem with him always trying to diffuse to be like, hey, we can be better, or we can figure, maybe not we can figure this out. I think you understand. They're trying to make him
Yeah.
better, but the problem with that is the way, again, cool idea, but the way they're executing it is that Optimus is just flipping back and forth between I'm gonna end this wicked toil poison once and for all to, hey, if you guys just want to like come back and have like a drink or something, it's all good. It's like, no, pick a side. Okay, sorry, continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Well,
I mean, there are ways that you could do that.
Yeah.
There are ways that you can have Optimus be like that, like you were saying, trying to take the high road and all that.
Yes.
Without making it seem contradictory, which is what it is seeming now.
Absolutely.
You could just have it be like something to the effect of, look, I know you're not Megatron. Okay.
Mhm.
My issue is with how he leads you, or like something like to the effect of my issue is not with you, it's with who you follow, or something that really drives home the point that it's like, look, I think it's Megatron's actions that have gone too far, and you guys potentially are still, but like, maybe can be saved or whatever.
And that works
he has
perfectly
been-
because we've seen
he's
it.
been thinking that, right? Yeah, that tracks with how he has, his mindset has been. So
it tracks with the Decepticons being like, ooh, what's going on with Megatron?
That too. Yeah,
it would
so
fit.
Yeah, exactly, and more on multiple layers. So
I'm not
levels.
upset.
So,
I'm cool. It's cool, guys. I'm cool.
I got to be honest with you. I am getting more animated than I thought I would get in talking about this issue. So,
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Your
Please.
guys' thoughts. when I first read, I'm very conflicted about the Megatron and Skywarp scene because a part of me enjoys that what had happened to Optimus in Daniel Warren Johnson's run is kind of happening to Megatron in the regards of the most inopportune times something out of his control is happening. And so part of me is like, it's kind of, happening to Megatron now. As soon as he's trying to do something, he's getting hit with this, Desimir headache or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I like that. I like that idea. But at the same time, this issue has already done this to me so many times. Of hey, here's this cool. Never mind. And so I just wanted to ask you guys, which side do you fall on? Or are you like me, falling in the middle of like, I want to like it, but I'm frustrated that you won't commit to something.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it becomes secondary. Like, I lose track of what's happening when the breaks happen to try to make the connection if something if it's the actions that he's taking in that moment are causing the breaks as
Mhm.
opposed to it just happening again. So it
Yeah.
is that's what I'm losing track of because everything seems like everything that happens it gets truncated by something else interacting, something
Yeah.
else stopping that action in some way, like you mentioned. So,
Mhm.
Moon or Swizz, do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah, I feel like, you know, there's so much that I wonder where it's like, where is this going to go, or is this even going to go anywhere? You know, there's there's a there's a lot of threads like that, and I feel like this thing with Megatron that's happening is one of the few things where I'm like, this is definitely going somewhere,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's just, I mean, going back to what you said earlier, Delta, it's like I'm tired, like
Yeah.
like
It's annoying.
it's just kind of exhausting where it's like I don't know if I have room to care about this right now
Yeah.
because it's just like I don't know. Yeah, it's just it's this and this issue is more taxing than I would say any of the other ones to actually read. And I mean, I think Delta touched on this. I think Carl did as well. But like, some of that is like by design. I'm sure like they wanted this to be a chaotic like battle
Mhm.
sequence, and I think in some ways that is successful. But I think in a lot of other ways it actually ends up being more of a weakness for this particular issue. And um, yeah, just the way everything flows, it's just hard to get it's hard to really like latch on to something and like go along for the ride with it in the moment. Um, yeah, I don't know if I really answered your question, Delta,
No,
but
it's okay. No, you've it's helpful to hear.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it sells the chaos well. It really does. But it maybe sells it too well, and while also trying to tell other story beats in there. Like with the Megatron stuff, or I don't know. But Swizz, do you have anything to add before we move on to this next page? Or
Um. No, I can't. I'm just. I
all
mean,
good.
like,
Yeah.
well, so I'll just say this. I'm not like. I guess I'm not like as much of like in the same boat as you guys. Where like it's um, like it is a lot to like read and digest this issue, but like I don't know. I feel like me reading like issue 26 or issue 27 was a lot worse than this issue. And like this issue still does have like its issues, but like I think like that's what I think the attempt was like what you guys said, like for it to be chaotic, and it just did not wasn't as like well done, obviously. But like I guess to answer your question, Delta, I'm kind of just used to it at this point. Like all joking aside, I'm just used to it. Like it is
yeah,
what it is.
it's like I'm gonna have questions. I'm just gonna
Yeah,
enjoy the ride. Yeah.
well, no, and
Yeah.
that's such a great point, Swizz, because what I wanted to say was that I think that this comic for its entirety up to this point has always had moments of things happening that were not immediately explained. And there were times that it may have bugged me a little bit, but it always left me saying, "Oh man, I want to know what's going on. You know, I can't wait for them to tell me. But now it more feels like, okay, sure, tell me if you want or not.
Yeah.
And I
Yep.
mean, like we know because of solicitations that we're gonna get another kind of Megatron. I'm gonna say Megatron origin story about what's going on. But to me, it's not. Oh man, I can't wait to see what's happening here. It's more just like, okay, yeah, tell me when you get the chance.
Yeah. It's like
If you
you
feel
know it's
like
coming,
it.
but you're
If
not like
not, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
okay too.
I'm not. I'm not eager to learn. I'm
Yeah.
just sitting here going, I will learn at some point,
It's
and
more
then I
like
will know.
it's like the idea that we know they're taking us on this ride, but we don't feel like they're like really inviting us to come along this ride. It's just like
Absolutely.
it's just like okay, that's coming, but
Right.
we'll get
Yeah,
there.
and I should very clearly say I'm okay not having all the answers right
Yeah,
away. I'm super
likewise.
okay with being like, "Oh, I'm not going to know that for a while." But it's just the fact that I'm not eager to know certain things anymore. That's the problem I have. All right.
Yeah, and
This episode is going to be the longest episode we've ever done.
yeah, sorry, yeah, but it's those moments that should interrupt the story don't feel that way because I feel like the page itself has already interrupted the story that was happening in like the previous page. You know what I mean? So there's like that big
Mhm.
like double page spread where Burdickus is falling, and then that moment itself feels like an interruption, and then that moment then gets interrupted.
Yes.
So it's just bizarre. So
Mhm.
okay, so right. We got a couple more
We
pages
must
here, which
move
I think we
forward.
can. Yeah, we must go on. So the thing that the giant explosion that happens is actually the marrying the two action of Devastator versus the Magni, and the Soundwave breakout is now spilling out into the battlefield here. So you get this again. It's a cool image of Devastator, who is Soundwave is holding on for dear life, and Devastator has he's got the corpses of Slipstream, Blitzwing, and Dirge. Was that the three that were that we saw previously? The corpses that were in the arc.
Sure, why
Um,
not?
I think because like um, but they're being pursued by this is an interesting scale wise thing. So RC Magnus is on top of is like riding atop of the Ultra Magnus in truck mode, which is kind of cool. It's like a cool like image. It
Yeah.
makes RC look massive though.
Mhm.
In that moment, but yeah. So in this moment, it's Devastator crashing through the action. Skywarp is like, okay, Soundwave's free. Let's get out of here. Soundwave, the ever loyal soldier, he attends to Megatron. He's like, Megatron, my master. Which I like that shot of Ravage kind of like running up
Mhm.
with Megatron and Soundwave as Devastator runs off. And then you get the next page is Soundwave, taking fire from the Autobots. He hoists Megatron over his shoulder. He's like, I won't leave you, which, you know, Soundwave was left behind by Megatron before, but now Soundwave is like, I got you, don't worry. No hard feelings, buddy. And so and in this moment, Optimus Prime sees his opportunity of like, we have them right where we want them. Our time of victory is at hand. We can't let the Decepticons get away. And then Prime is interrupted by a voice that calls out, "No, leave them to rule this insignificant planet of mud." And then you get this last page splash reveal of Alita One, who has now arrived from Cybertron. She says, "It's long past time you answer to me." And you get a shot of a splash page of Alita One standing there with Cliff Jumper, who looking indifferent in this page. But yeah, that's our cliffhanger for the end of issue 29. So yeah, what I guess let's just close it out here, guys. What are we thinking of these last couple pages? And I'm gonna go to Moon first here.
Well, so this is a very minor detail and kind of a random thing, but I love the kind of consistency with like the coloring of the lettering for different sound effects. Like all of the big sounds that Devastator makes are like these like crooms or cracooms or whatever, and they're like similar in style, and they're outlined in yellow with red, and there are some other things as well. But I do have to say, like another like kind of weird uh, little lettering moment is like when you have the page with Devastator charging and Soundwave hanging off of his knee, which is awkward. But like
Yeah.
you got the croom sound effect, but then under that you've got like another boom or something. Like, do you
Yeah,
guys see that? It's like the
and then also
dust.
but then in the background too, you see the one that's like
Yeah,
right in front of there's that
right.
one, and then the one that's like underneath the croom of maybe it's just supposed to be the multiple footsteps of Devastator coming crashing through the
Oh
scene,
yeah,
Can
and like
we
one
I
in the
hadn't thought of
background,
that.
the
can
croom
we
up front
title
here, and then
this can we title this episode Croom and Boom?
Croom.
Yes.
so
I do agree with you, Moon. I get what you whack Room and Boom and Moon. Wait a second. I
Ah,
do agree with you. Jokes aside, I do agree with you.
I think it'd be more
strange.
effective without the one that's like to the right of the croom, where it's like
it's just weird because they're like on top of each other, you know?
yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, other than that, like the sequence is fine.
Yeah.
Like again, I kind of feel like Prime's dialogue is a little inconsistent where it's just like we have him right where we want him. Do you? Like
Right.
like
Devastator just
I don't know.
blew up the whole scene, whatever
Right.
was happening, because they had like a team shot. They were standing there. Onslaught was like surrendering, so it seemed like they were, and then Devastator blew that up, and then Prime says that it's like, no, you did have them where you wanted them, but now they're like running away. So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a ton to say.
yeah,
Like I know that like the big thing here is like uh the big sequence or the big thing in this sequence is obviously Alita 1.
yeah,
And they want us to, see that they're bolstering the Decepticon ranks. I do like that they kind of applied like a little bit of like a blur effect when we get that close up of Slipstream and Blitzwing. It's almost like I don't know, like it's like a slow
Motion
motion.
blur.
Well, yeah, like everything's like slowing down, and it's like,
Mhm.
I'm
like,
trying to
do you
think of
see him?
like a
Do you see
like a
him?
yeah, like a good example of like from like a movie, but it's like just sometimes you get movies where they do that. It's like the
Yeah.
action, so there's like it's just like like a just a stutter in like the action. It just pauses a little bit, and then the action continues. But it's the pause of him swinging, Devastator swinging his arm, and then you just get like a snapshot of like, oh look is in his hand. But really, I have to be honest with you, completely blew right past that. I thought, again, this is my fault for not really paying attention, but like the way my eye was going with the action happening of Devastator crashing through there, I completely overlooked that left panel because it took my eye right into Skywarp transforming. So I was kind of like, oh, like is that that must be Skywarp then transforming and flying off. But I was like, no, you idiot, that's not Skywarp at all. But it's just the way that was me reading it too quickly. So I completely skipped over the fact that's what it was supposed to be showing us. So because
I
I
don't.
remember
I
I
would
heard somebody
argue
say
it.
like, yeah, no, go ahead.
No, I would argue and say that that's not your fault, because I think that the paneling done here, I think is confusing. That you have that kind of magnification, that close up of Slipstream and Blitzwing being grabbed, but it just, to me, it does not at all connect with the image above it. I know you can see Blitzwing and Slipstream being grabbed
Yeah, he's
by
like yeah,
Devastator, but it's, for me, it's this thing. It's not, oh, look at this thing happening, and then as I read down, I get a magnification of it. It's just such a clear case of, oh wait, uh-oh, did I miss something? Now I have to look back. And to
Yeah, it's
me,
the
that's
flow
not.
again.
Yeah, it's the
yeah.
flow. It's something's off of like, wait, oh, because when I read this, I was like, wait, Slipstream is alive? I'm like, wait, oh, and I went back and I was like, oh no, I guess they. Oh, I'm
But
tired.
yeah, like they look alive there though. Like they look.
Yeah,
I mean, kind of. I mean, there's I don't know. Like their body language doesn't read 100% deactivated. Like it,
Mhm.
it kind of does when they're in the larger shot of Devastator carrying them, because they just kind of look like just he's got a fistful of Decepticons essentially. But then that close up, and it looks like it almost. It, and again, it's strange, but it's the Decepticon logo to the left, like to the left of Slipstream, that it almost looks like her head is snapping up, like she's like becoming alert and her eyes are open, but that's
Mhm.
not what's happening. It's just there's just so much going on and it's confusing me. And then I am 100% too far in the weeds, and I apologize, but like I just feel like this comic has made me question everything. Like, what is happening here? Um, but yeah, so let's just talk about the Alita moment. What do we think about uh bringing Alita to Earth at this moment in the story? Let's go Delta.
Um, it's rushed. I
Yeah.
just to me, this feels this does not feel earned. The only thing it feels like is, hey, we got to wrap this up. We got to wrap this Elite thing up. Uh,
But
it's
why?
just, why does it feel like that?
No, but why?
Oh
Why do
yeah,
you
but why
like?
do we have to? Yes, yeah,
Why is that pressing? Like that
yeah,
to me was like a great, we'll get there story,
right.
and it just, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, and that's where it comes into play. Like maybe the next issue will give us more context as to why, why they wanted to move the chess pieces to get here, to get us to
Mm-hmm.
whatever the next story arc is. But in this moment, it's a big, huh?
No, I
So
absolutely agree with you. It's just, yeah. It for me, when I saw that page, what I thought was, okay, what they're wanting me to feel is this big mic drop moment of, oh no. But what I'm actually feeling is just me going, okay, next,
yeah,
please. Okay. And that to me, the indifference is worse than me going, that's stupid. It's just like, all right, man. Sure. Why not?
yeah, I yeah, I have a similar
And I
reaction.
and I and I should be very clear, and I know you guys know this, but just for our audience, I'm I'm sad that that's what I feel. I'm not sitting here going like, and oh boy, I get a hate on this comic. Oh boy, I'm disappointed. I'm like, man, of course I want to like this. And part of me, I will admit, when I read these issues, immediately I'm like, no, I like this. This is good. And then over time, I'm like, hey, I just need to be real and honest and say that this one isn't it. And I wish it was, but I just, I can't lie to myself. And I
Yeah,
just have to
yeah.
admit that, yeah, something's not working here.
Swizz, what are you thinking of? What do you think of Alita now on Earth?
For just like this volume, the Autobots are one step forward, two steps back, because you finally have the chance to take down the Decepticons, and of course, can't have that, because then the story would just end. It's
It's true.
it's a comic book.
But we shouldn't feel that as a thing. Like
Right. No, I agree.
you should,
Right.
right? No, I'm agreeing with you for sure.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, and I don't mean to cut you off, and I apologize.
No,
It's
you're
just
good.
that's what hits me is like we shouldn't feel that, oh, it's because this is what they wanted to do for the story. It takes you out of enjoying the story. Like it just feels like a checklist of things like, oh, we want to get half a Devastator. We want to get Thundercracker being confronted by Megatron. We want to have Megatron have a break. We want to have, it's like a checklist of things that need to happen at the expense of enjoying the story that's being told. Like in a comic book where it's like, to get from point A to point B, that's the whole point. Like I don't care like what your story I don't necessarily care what the plot point is. I want to enjoy getting there. Even if I don't agree with what the plot point is, I want to enjoy the journey of let the art kind of take me on this tell me this story, and that's where I- that's where it's failing me.
Yeah. And um are you guys like familiar with like The Simpsons and like the episode where they get like the monkey paw, and it's like the wish, but it's not like
Yeah.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's like, all right. no, no, GI Joe, no mask. This is just pure Transformers. But it's like, here's what you actually get. Like, yeah, you wanted just Transformers. Here you go, bud. This is what you get.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my whole reaction, really. Like with Alita, it just and like to anyone wondering, like, wait, how are they here? We don't know. And I know some people are like, well, the space bridge. Well, guess what? We never saw that. So like to just call back to what Moon said earlier, like, they the creative team gives us a lot of freedom into and expects us to fill in the blank. So we're just to assume that, Cliff Jumper's little scouting mission that we saw, I believe that was issue 27. It's all one big blur. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's all one big
Yeah,
blur, this volume. So, but I want to say it was issue 27, when Cliffjumper went in and we saw Shockwave was alive still.
I think you're right.
We're just
Yeah,
gonna assume that the mission was successful and they got the space bridge working and nothing, and that's how they're here. And like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie, I just want to say this real quick. I don't
yeah,
want to
you
cut
know,
you
yeah.
off.
No, no, you're fine.
Um, I have been like so like in and out with the story. So like when I did see Alita appear, I was like, oh, I was like, huh. I hate to say, I really was like, I did not see that coming because like I was just like the issue was so fast. Like I was like just reading it, the pacing was too fast. So then when I see Alita and that's how it ends, I'm like, oh, okay, so I guess we're gonna do that. Like, and
Yeah,
it's like what Delta said, we're gonna wrap this up. So get ready for next issue. So I'm like, oh, all right, next month we'll find out what happens next time. Transformers. So
And what we should be feeling is, whoa, oh my goodness. But instead what we're feeling, and I think this is what you're saying, so is what we're feeling is, oh,
huh.
okay. All right.
Yeah,
It's not an excited, whoa, it's a oh.
yeah, yeah,
yeah. I
exactly.
mean, there wasn't enough for this. So, like you said,
It's
Swizz, the
not
last we
earned.
saw. Yeah, yeah, and that's a lot of this stuff is just unearned. I mean, we've talked about it.
Mhm.
The other moments that the Thundercracker thing that was truncated. That there was still
RC
more story to tell
Magnus.
there. RC Magnus,
Mhm.
so um there's more story. There was more story to tell about Cliff Jumper's scouting mission. All we saw was that one page of him with like parts
They
under
could have
his
dedicated half of a book, like half of the
right.
issue of
Like
I
just
w
that mission. That sounded awesome.
I was gonna say everything that we've gotten within these issues, and I'm gonna go out on a limb to say this next issue, next month, issue 30, this entire story, I feel like should have been at least 12 issues. Not
I agree.
6, 12. And that being said, that doesn't mean that it would be perfect or it would fix a lot of things, but it's just I feel like yeah, I think you
And
agree with me, Swiss.
yeah, no, I agree. And I just want to say real quick to anyone who's like rolling their eyes and are like, "Oh my god, like these guys don't like, Kirkman in the book." Look, like basically like what we're saying is like the ideas are welcomed. We like the ideas.
Mhm.
RC Magnus, Thundercracker being an Autobot. We welcome the ideas. And everyone likes the idea, the concept. It's the execution that just goes wrong. It's poorly executed. The concept, the idea on paper, it sounds really cool and interesting. I'm just like RC Magnus, Thundercracker, Cliffjumper scouting mission, Alita and her team of Autobots on Cybertron. How do they feel? There's so many things that on paper it sounds so interesting with this story, yet it's just executed so poorly because the pacing and dialogue is just all over the place. So like,
And
yeah,
maybe there's those, and I hope this is the case. I hope that there are people out there that love this fast pace in the sense that
yeah,
where we loved the
Mhm.
drawn out stuff of the first 24 issues, there were people who were like, this is taken, where it's taken too long, to the where's Megatron,
Yeah.
where's and I'm one that, like, if you're telling me a good story, I don't care how long it takes if I'm enjoying the ride. Like, I don't need to be, instantly gratified as to with a story payoff. And this is like all payoff with no story. Like, in the sense that it's like it doesn't. I mean, not no story. That's not fair to say. But like it's just it's big moments without the enjoyable journey getting there. And yeah, it's a big leap to go from a cliff jumper with a bunch of parts under his arm running on a scouting mission to then her on Earth. Now, is that like a holy crap, I didn't see that coming? Yes, that is like I didn't think they were going there that soon. Like why is she here so soon? But it just feels like, oh man, like I'm mourning the story we didn't get instead of enjoying the story we are getting. And like that's, again, maybe that's a me thing. Maybe that's, or like an us thing. So if there are those out there who are like, you guys need to shut up. This is awesome. Please let us know. Like if you're listening to this right now and you're like angry with us, I want to hear from you, because like I just and I don't want to. It's not an argument. It's not a like I think you're wrong. It's not a I just want to know that there are those fans that are out there that are that don't have these issues with the series. And if I hear that, it's just more reassuring to me that, like, you know what? Okay, this is speaking to more people than like me. Like I'm not getting the enjoyment out of it, but like I want people to enjoy this book. I want it all to do well. So like I've said that in the past, and I fully mean that here as well. So please put in the comments like what you thought about this issue. If this was like a top tier issue for you, tell us why. So yeah, sorry, I gotta get off my soapbox. I completely like it's like I blacked out there.
No,
Sorry.
this is our podcast. This is all about us being on soapboxes.
So I and again, like I keep getting so worked up. I forget who said what here. Moon,
I
did
think
you
it's
talk
Moon's
about?
turn.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think Moon talked about this, so I'll shut up and Moon go.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like this is an interesting one for me because it's, well, I don't know if it's actually even that interesting. I like both agree and disagree with like a lot of the things that you guys have said. Um, like I 100% agree that like my reaction when I flipped to this page, like Delta said, it was definitely more of a, oh, okay. But like I think it becomes a little trickier when you start talking about everything about this particular thing kind of being rushed or skipping over some stuff, because we have seen Alita and Cliffjumper in the background, but like we've been consistently cutting to them in Cybertron in a way that I feel like even during the Johnson run, where it's like, okay, like what are we doing here? Like, like,
Yeah.
and it did pay off, with sending Shredhead back and all of that. But so it's like on the one hand, I think that like that has been there, like running in the background. But I do also agree with you guys in the sense where it's like, it's just kind of a microcosm of the comic as a whole, where it's like we've really skipped ahead a few steps and we kind of lost some stuff. And I don't know. I think that this comic just kind of, it would benefit from maybe like slowing down a little bit. And it's not to say that like I don't like a fast paced story or anything. I think that the Johnson stuff, it had its detractors for the way that story was paced. I mean, sometimes we had issues with some of the pacing, or what would get the focus, or what didn't get the focus, or what didn't get enough space. So in that sense, I don't want to be totally unfair to Kirkman, because it's like it's not just like his run that we've encountered that, but I will say it feels like we're maybe encountering it more in his, even in just like these 6 issues, like now that we can actually compare to like the 24 issues as well as the specials that we've seen. Yeah, so I actually think that it's understandable for Johnson's run to move sometimes at the clip that it did, because it had an expiration date. We knew that he was only on it for a limited amount of time. And I don't know if that's the plan here with Kirkman. I'm getting the impression that, like, it's his title or question marks. Like he's
As long
going to
as
be
he
on
wants
it.
it, yeah.
Exactly.
Say what?
So it's like, I think he could really just like slow down. He should really, what he should do is he should take a page from the best series in the Energon universe, G.I. Joe. He should, he should really let his arcs breathe and like focus on a very specific characters. And you could even throw in like some Night Force-esque like spotlight issues where you kind of really like just focus on a character or a specific plot thread for an issue. I really think that the series is just moving too fast, and like I don't know, maybe this is just paving the way for something like that, but I don't know. I just think the series would benefit from slowing down and taking a little bit more time and like letting us I appreciate that, my intelligence is not being insulted by, they believe in me in terms of filling in the blanks, but, I wouldn't mind seeing more of the story unfold on the page rather than in my imagination.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just, but, it's his story to tell. So we'll see where it
But
goes.
I think you bring up a great point in the sense where, like the G.I. Joe Night Force issue is a kind of standalone. Like we just got a great Roadblock issue in issue 18. Um, and I think this would actually serve Kirkman. It would speak to Kirkman's strength because I will say that I do enjoy that he's trying to give all of these characters individual voices that didn't have necessarily established characteristics in the Daniel Warren Johnson run, which is a fair critique that there are a lot of characters that existed in DWJ's run that didn't have a voice, right? Like they were just there, and like for instance, we talked about in just today, talking about Rumble. Like the fact that we're like Team Rumble right now, like that dude's awesome. I commend him for doing that. So I think slowing down and focusing on specific voices would serve him well, and I think it would serve the book well, for sure. So, all right. So I guess we're at that point where we should start to wrap it up and talk about our final thoughts on the issue and scores. So I don't want to pick on anybody, but I'm gonna eeny meeny miny Delta.
No. um, man, this one's such a tough issue to rate. Um, because for me, there's nothing in this issue that is so offensive to me or so egregious that I'm just like, ugh. But there's nothing in this issue that I'm going to look back on. I truly believe even in a year's time and be like, "Oh yeah, issue 29, that's when like this cool thing happened." Um I'm going to look back at it and be like, "Oh, that's when Alita showed up." Uh and because of that, I'm going to give this a 5. Um and the reason it's a 5 out of 10 for me is because um every good thing that I can say about this issue, there's something right next to it that just tears it down for me. And so for me, this is such I don't want to say such a disappointment because it's left me just almost feeling nothing. It's left me kind of feeling empty. There's still good things to it. I like Dan Moore's art. I like Rumble. I like um, some of the action. I like that characters are expressive again in their faces. Um, but it's just uh, this is the most whatever I've ever felt about an issue in this series, and that's why I just have to give it a 5 because I couldn't possibly give it anything higher. Um, but I don't think it's so bad that it's anything lower either. And so I just have to sit it in the middle and say, yeah, it is, as I would say, it is one of the issues of all time for me. And I just have to. I know I've said this before. I know we all know it, but I
Yeah.
have to just reconfirm with everybody that hurts me. That's what I'm saying about it. I don't want to, but I have to be true to myself and just this is it's an issue. Mm-hmm. That's my rating.
All right.
More
Let's
rumble, please.
yeah, absolutely. Let's go Swizz. What are your final thoughts on issue 29?
Yeah, so this one's kind of hard as well because to me, I don't think this is like bottom of the barrel of like Kirkman's run. I still stand by that 26 and 27 are my least favorite issues of the whole run, like of all the issues, not counting just this volume. I don't think it's anywhere I don't think it's near that level. Uh I do love a good, action-packed issue. Usually it's weird because this is a trend that even Danny Warren Johnson would do. Usually the issue before the finale, that second to last issue, is faster paced and more action-packed, which I do like. However, it was too fast, which is a reoccurring trend in this volume where the pacing's just all over the place. Just to kinda say, what I said earlier, but again, I still I there's a lot of cool ideas. The execution is just very poor. However, I'm not gonna give it like a 5 out of 10. I think when I first read this, I gave it like a 7.5 out of 10 because at the time, I thought it was a little bit better than last issue. However, after talking to you guys about it, I don't think it's worse than last issue, but I also don't think it's better because to me, I look at this issue as a two-parter, even though I don't like doing that. I see some people say, like, "Oh, the reason why the issue is because it's a second part of last issue." I don't like looking at, issues like that. However, that's the only way I can really hope and rationalize this, issue being so fast-paced. So, I'm just gonna give it like a solid 7. Just 7.
All right, Moon, you're up.
All right. Well, it's very interesting to me. It's wild how we can say like such similar things about the issue, but then like walk away with like such,
Such different numbers.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I, man, it's tough. Again, like I agree with a lot of like what Delta and Swizz have already said. But specifically I want to like touch on like what Swizz said. Like I agree. I don't think that this is my least favorite issue of the run. Like not even close actually. Um, but it's not the best either. Like there is some stuff in here that I genuinely enjoy. Like there are some, you know, I do I do like a lot of the action in here, and I think that the art has Mora has really settled in to um, Mora has settled into this title in a way that is good on uh, in some ways in terms of like the how dynamic the action is, the way that the characters look and how they feel much more alive, but I feel like something went awry here with the layouts. Like a lot of my complaints with this issue are of the formal variety where it's just like why did you do this? Like it kind of impacts the experience in terms of reading it. And I don't know who to blame for that, to be honest. And I don't know if it's just like a case of it being too ambitious, and maybe the cast is too big. I don't know. Um, but it's just kind of confusing to read, kind of frustrating to read at times, even though I like a lot of the underlying ideas. And like, if I really zero in on like a moment to moment thing, like I do enjoy like what wound up on the page, but there are multiple points where I kind of am confused why it's in the order that it's in, or why we didn't get a little bit more, or why we got a panel of this, but not like a panel setting up like the next page or whatever. Um, so yeah, and the dialogue, Optimus's dialogue, like really kind of drags this down for me. Uh, where I disagree with Swizz is I do think that last issue was better than this issue, and I think that it like I'm pretty sure like I said something to the effect of like I feel like this is like what the series could be if it was firing on all cylinders, where it's like I'm interested, I'm invested in like the mask stuff. I like it felt like we finally got some character moments. Like it wasn't a perfect issue by any stretch. It still had its flaws, but I feel like this was a step back. Like it really like stepped away from the character moments, to the point of where like yeah there's some cool action in here, but I mean a lot of this is just kind of soulless to me. Like it just doesn't have the heart that like kept me invested and kept me wanting to come back during the Johnson run. And like I got a hint of that in issue 28. And I'm pretty sure that I jinxed it then, because I was like, we'll see if he keeps it going, or if, they break my heart. And I don't know that I'd say that they broke my heart, but um, yeah, it definitely just didn't really, I don't know, just didn't really deliver. So I'm going to give it a 6.5.
Yeah. So I, uh, I feel like you touched on something that I think is at the heart of what my issue is. Moon, you touched on this. I have been so used to feeling something in reading a Transformers comic of this run, and I feel like I'm not feeling enough from this series, and especially in the sense that we did get the glimmers. I feel like there's been more moments that have made me be invested in these characters, even in what Swizz would consider like the weakest of the issues. I thought we had some moments in 27, 26, 27, and in 28 that I thought were some solid character moments. And maybe didn't quite love how quickly we got to some of them, but I did like the conversations with like Thundercracker and Prime. I didn't like how that ended. So, but there's like flashes of character things that I enjoyed reading, right? But then it all leads to this issue, and if this is like the big set piece, uh, action moment for this story arc, it falls flat for me because I don't feel like it's I'm not super invested in what's going on here. The art I enjoy what Dan Mora is doing, but also Moon, I think you said it that um there is a certain like soullessness which is it's hard for me to say that because I don't like I Mora is an accomplished artist, and I think this will probably not make Swizz happy, but I think some of the strongest stuff that Mora has done in this entire arc so far was the Miles Mayhem breakout scene from last issue. I thought like the mask stuff was fantastic, and I think if the robots and the machinery was the set piece type stuff that was the background to the human characters, I think I look at this arc a little differently. But getting the emotions out of the robots, I'm not quite getting it. It was improved. It was improved here. There were some moments where the faces are. I was feeling it a little more, um, but ultimately, I wanted to feel a lot more out of this issue, especially because it's this big like Autobots Decepticons fight. One, I feel like it's probably a little too soon to have this level clash so soon after issue 24. So I don't know that this arc needed this kind of fight. But we got it, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I just it dilutes it a little bit if you're constantly having the Autobots and Decepticons have this big scale fight. So I think this there was an opportunity to have a smaller scale interaction here, but whatever, it is what it is. But ultimately, for me, I do think this is one of the weakest issues that we've gotten. And it pains me to say that because it should be super strong because it's like great action. There's stuff going on, like, but it's just every time I see something kind of cool happen, there's something about that I like don't like, that I just like, I don't know, that feels off. The flow of it is just all over the place for me, and I talked about that. I I just I every took an issue with like almost everything that happened in this issue. And again, we've talked about it. It's not the choices of the plot. It's the journey and the experience of reading this comic. And you know, even if you take this to reading for the trade, right? Like even then the flow seems off, because the transition from like the Trailbreaker's death should mean something, right? Like there should be something that comes directly out of that as a result of that happening. And it shouldn't just be a Megatron is losing it moment. Like there should be something like direct consequences should happen, because as we stand right now, Trailbreaker already feels like an afterthought. I'm like, that's a wasted opportunity. If you're going to take out a character, make it mean something. And like, so okay, that rant over. But if you read in the trade, so you go from issue 28 where he, does his whole thing to Trailbreaker, and then this issue starts and he's still glugging. Like, I think it's a missed opportunity to show the power of Megatron here. Like, start with like a really like a put Megatron in a position of strength because he's just done that. But instead, he looks kind of like desperate and weak. And maybe that's the point. I don't know. But, maybe down the line, we'll be like, okay, well, that was the whole point all along. But because he's just like continuing to eat when there should be urgency of like the mission at hand. And it's just him snacking while the other, Decepticons stand there staring at him like, boss, what are we doing here? It just is clunky. And I think I wanted to rate this higher, but I think Delta, you nailed it. I think it's a 5. It's a 5 for me because it's just I wanted to like it more. I wanted it to mean more, and it doesn't. Like I can't. There's a disconnect between the story and the art, and it's very hard for me to get behind. Like there's just a disconnect there that I can't quite put my finger on. So I have already gotten to the point where as I'm reading these issues, my mind is already going to, where are we going to be in issue 32? Like who's going to be the next artist, and how's this series going to look? Because I'm almost this is not Dan Mora's fault. I am not faulting him for this. It's just, but I'm already looking past this because I just want to get this arc behind us to see what the actual direction is and where we're going next. And I shouldn't feel like that. Like I shouldn't, it stinks to feel that way. So, yeah, it's a 5. There's so many things that are disjointed here, and we talk. I should mention we talked about this earlier before we were recording, but this issue, it makes me just feel like it's Kirkman just smashing his toys together. It's just them. Like it just I just that's when I said that, I was like, "That's what it is." Like, it's just them. It's like, I want these, like, moments to happen, and what happens before or after them don't matter. It's just this I want this, like, splash page, like, "This is a cool moment. Half a Devastator. Cool. And then let's just get to the next thing." And it's not working for me, and I want more heart in this series, and, we've gotten that before, and I wanna get back to that point. And, I also should say, you know, Kirkman is also writing Void Rivals, right? Void Rivals right now, I'm enjoying that more than Transformers. So it's not like it's just a Robert Kirkman thing. It's just Robert Kirkman on Transformers thing, and that's what I don't want that to get lost. I'm just like anti Robert Kirkman, because I really am enjoying what's going on in Void Rivals right now. So I don't know. Let's get to issue 30. Let's get to issue 31. Figure out what's going on with Megatron, and let's reassess. So I apologize to anyone who who is livid after listening to us kind of be not super positive about this issue. So yeah, guys, do you have any other closing thoughts, or should we just wrap it up and call it a day?
I do have one thing I wanted to
Yeah,
say. I love the fact that you brought up that you said that this just feels like Robert Kirkman, smashing his Transformers toys together. And I love the fact that you bring that up because there may not be a comment about this, but I've seen people say in response to comments like that, yeah, but they're Transformers, they fight, that's what they do. And yes, you are correct, if that's kind of your combatant point against Carl here, but the combat against that is you should want more. You should want more than just robot fight. You should want more, and you should want better from it because we've had better. And so there's not a problem with robot fight, robot punch robot. No problem with that. The problem is that we can do better, and we know we've done better, and we want there to be, or at least I want. I don't want to speak for all you guys. I want there to be a reason for robot fight robot, and something to feel. I want to care about Trailbreaker getting glugged.
Yeah.
And I've not been given a reason to. So you should want more.
Well said.
Yeah.
I'm personally attacking you, viewer. No, I'm joking.
No, and it really does go back to what I said before. Is like, I truly want to in issues past, like that I've had issues with, coming on here, talking to you guys, and having your thoughts, and maybe if they're more positive than mine, I always walk away with a better appreciation for an issue because of that. So if there are those out there that love this issue, please chime in, because like it's important to for a holistic view of what this series is and what's going on. It's important to hear those other voices. So I encourage you to chime in the comments. So all right, Swizz, Moon, you guys any closing thoughts? You're good to go.
I think Delta nailed it.
Yeah, he did.
Way to go, Delta. Great to have you back, buddy.
I'm announcing my retirement. I'm done.
And on that note, all right. So Transformers issue 30 is going to come out. Looks like March 11th, and I'm going to read the synopsis for it just because why not? It says, "End of story arc. Who will lead the Autobots? It's Optimus Prime versus Alita 1, and the future of the Autobots hangs in the balance. One shall stand, and one, you know the rest." So until then, thanks for listening in to our discussion here. I apologize if it was a little disjointed. It was a tough one to get through just because of the nature of the issue. But we appreciate you sticking with us. Be sure to check out the links in the rest of our channel. See what we're doing on a day-to-day basis. I know both Swizz and Delta are putting out some great videos, great Transform content. I suggest checking those out. And then until then, thanks for listening in, and we will see you next issue.
Bye.